Guten Tag. It's not just any book club. Roald Dahl month.
Yep.
And yeah.
We're
And hi,
diving in on everyone's childhoods this month with Roald Dahl.
Roald Dahl. Imagine naming your child Roald and then having the last name Dahl. Because I'm wondering if his friends really went up to him like, hey, what's up, Roald? But speaking of funny first names, my name is Justin.
My name is Pierce.
Hilarious. And we're not just any book club. We collectively take a theme, and today's theme, or this month's theme, was Roald Dahl. We wanted to do children's authors for a change, so this might be a family-friendly episode. Hopefully,
Perhaps.
don't curse, don't ruin it for us. And I read what did I read? James and the Giant Peach, as well as two books way back when, so I mean I'll be able to discuss that. And we also did an episode on the Fantastic Mr. Fox, so you can check that out.
Yep. On the movie specifically, we talked a little bit about the differences with the book, but it was specifically the movie. And yeah, I read Charlie and the Chocolate Factory in German, auf Deutsch. Figured I'm learning German. I figured a children's book would be a good time to give it a shot, and it went pretty well, I think.
This may be the only person that's ever been confused by Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. You can really grasp all the finer details.
Yeah, all the finer details, like the squirrels.
Oh, well, also, fun fact: are you aware that he made a sequel to?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm aware. Most people aren't. I said something about it at work because I've been reading a lot at work, so people were asking like what I was reading, and I was like, oh, it's in German. I thought about getting the edition with like the second book too, but I couldn't find one for cheap that's in German. And they were like, there's a second book?
I'm not well aware of the quality of that book. We're not discussing that. No. And apparently there was going to be a third book, so maybe it could have been a trilogy, but alas, he died. He died one chapter in, so spoiler alert. Yeah. And also, fun fact: I did research about his life. He didn't start off as a children's author. He started off making, I think, just memoirs because he served in the army for World War II. And it all started when he wrote about his account of World War II, and they published it in a magazine. And then he wrote a bunch of fiction for that. And he was a pilot for the Royal Air Force. So, and he's had to write about his survival in a desert crash. And that started off him writing. And he started writing adult fiction. A lot of it was very pulpy. It was adapted into a few movies that I have not seen. But yeah. But then once he wrote Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, everything in the early 60s, I forgot which came first, James and the Giant Peach or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. But after that, he just straight up became a kid's author because he went where the money went. So, hooray.
Oh my god. Hold on. I just am reading a description of the sequel to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Glass elevator.
Picks up right where the previous book left off, with Charlie and family aboard the flying great glass elevator after Willy Wonka has rewarded him with the ownership of the chocolate factory. The elevator accidentally goes into orbit, and Mr. Wonka docks them at the Space Hotel USA. So, their interception of the hotel is mistaken by approaching astronauts and hotel staff in a commuter capsule and listeners on Earth, including the president, as an act of space piracy. And they are variously accused of being enemy agents, spies, and aliens. Shortly after their arrival, they discover that the hotel has been overrun by dangerous shape-changing alien monsters known as the Remisius Canids.
Didn't expect that.
No, it goes on. So that's I guess that's just like the first part of the book.
It's literally a sequel in space. So,
yep.
Yeah. But
I thought it was just gonna go over like the transition of the chocolate factory, and there was gonna be like more random candy stuff, but no. Nope.
And you've seen the movie before, right?
Yeah, I've seen both adaptations.
Which one is better?
The old one.
Yeah. Do you skip Cheer Up Charlie like I do whenever you watch it?
I have not seen it in quite a while, so what scene is that?
It's the it's like considered the worst song. When Charlie's mother just starts saying, "Hey, cheer up, Charlie!"
Oh,
It's the worst song.
I think I blacked that out.
It,
I don't even remember that at all. Like,
it's so bad. Um, yeah. I mean, okay, we're not discussing the movie. But
we
it's
probably will touch on the movie just because
yeah,
it's like very
iconic.
yeah.
Um, well, yeah. I've not. I'm guessing. I guess I'll start a little bit off with my book. I have not seen
Mhm.
the movie version of this, but James of the Giant Peach.
The movie
Um,
version is good. I enjoyed the movie version as a kid.
yeah, I'm assuming because my beef with the book is just how boring it is. I can't imagine reading this to kids. It's like so basically it's about James. He lives in an abusive household because of his two aunts that take him in, and they're just terrible to him. And then he stumbles on magic beans and he throws them on the ground accidentally and makes a peach really big. And he just enters the peach. And then just starts talking to insects who just argue over very banal things. And then the peach gets lifted off and shenanigans ensue. And a lot of the book just feels a lot really, really just aimless, plotless. And the four characters that he just interacts with just argue over just nothing. It's just really annoying to read. And they don't go through an arc, they don't learn a lesson. I don't know what the point of it was because it just felt like things happening. And, I think if you've listened to the show long enough, my beef was just like very passive characters, when the events just happen to a group of characters rather than the characters taking some sort of agency and affecting the plot in their own way. um and there was just a lot of that, just like random stuff happening. And I think there was one part where they throw a bunch of webs over seagulls so they can fly the giant peach out of here, which fine, that makes sense, I guess, whatever. But it just felt really random and I got really bored. I think I just read it in two sittings because I could have read it in one, but I was like, I'm just gonna put this down and read it tomorrow. Very boring. Very disappointed. But like, I don't know. What did you like about the movie?
Um, this is a movie I actually haven't watched since I was like a child.
I think this is gonna be a running theme here.
So yeah. Um, so I barely remember. I remember it being interesting and really liking the like it was like stop motion or
Yeah,
something.
the animation style. Yeah,
Um, I just remember really enjoying like watching it. I
mm,
don't think I thought too deeply about like the
yeah.
plot or anything.
Which is probably part of the curse because I know they made changes in the movie because they had to expand on a lot for this to be interesting. Because for this book, okay, for children's literature, for it to be interesting for me at least, or to see from the point of view of a kid, I'm like, this has to be fulfilling some sort of wish fulfillment. And like, I can't imagine someone going like, "Woohoo, giant peach!" Yeah,
I
talking to big
well,
bugs,
I think it's supposed to be a metaphor for like escaping
escaping
the
abusive household.
abusive household, but
So very face value. But even then, they just kind of allude to the parents being just terrible people. They just say they beat him
mm,
daily or something like that, and that's about it. Because I don't know, it doesn't feel very dire for him to leave. You just kind of allude to him. They make him do chores and they don't treat him well. But man, it doesn't make you feel it. Um, and yeah, and the James, the titular character, doesn't have anything interesting about him. Again, I guess he's not freaked out by bugs. He doesn't really band the gang together, the band of bugs. I'm just like, I don't know what the point is. Um, it just feels like things happening, and I don't know. There are better books to read to your kids, in my opinion. I feel like I would even skip part of the book if I was going to read it to my kids.
this is all coming back to me now. It's crazy. I'm sorry. I'm reading the plot for the movie. Yeah. I don't know. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the book felt like it very much just followed the plot of the movies. Like they didn't deviate very much in the movie adaptations.
Mm,
So, which was helpful for considering this was the first thing I've read in a language that's not English. That's the first thing, the first like large form of media.
mm,
Um, so it it was very much like we're introduced to Charlie, and his family is poor, and they live in a house that's too small for all of them. And he has 4 grandparents who don't like leave the bed; they're like bedridden. And then Wonka in the newspaper introduces this like, oh, we're gonna do this golden ticket thing, and then slowly we're introduced to all of the children through newspaper articles about them. And their flaws become strikingly obvious and clear.
Explicitly said, I believe. I'm assuming the
Uh,
movie did that. The Oompa
I
Loompas pointed out in like song form.
Yeah, well, the songs were pretty kind of hard to read in German
Ah,
because it was very like it obviously becomes like more flowery, which is I don't even have a super strong grasp of the non-flowery language. So, um yeah, so I don't know about the songs, but it was not explicitly said in their actions, but it might as well be. Like it's very, very clear. Verushka is like, I want my dad to buy me everything. He's gonna buy me everything. Which I actually I had heard online the Broadway song for Verushka Saltz, where she's like,
in German, like there was a
no,
German.
no, 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 no,
Okay.
no, 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 the like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory on Broadway song.
Okay,
And she asked her dad to buy her North Korea in the song or something.
that's funny.
Uh, yeah, and I completely blank like because I didn't see that it was from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, so I completely blanked where Verushka Saltz was from until I reread this until I read this book, and I was like, wow, that's where that's from. That's crazy. Um, but yeah, no, it was. I mean, I thought it was good. I think I might be able to be more critical of it if I either had a better grasp on German or if I had read it in English. But like it followed like the plot of the movie adaptations were very, very similar. Um, I think like the main thing that I'd heard of that they changed for the at least the first adaptation was when Roald Dahl originally wrote the book, he the first movie adaptation is more grounded than the
Yeah,
book. The book is supposed to feel very like fantastical.
yeah. And a
Um,
fun fact, or not so fun fact, Roald Dahl did not like the adaptation, like the first one, the one he was alive to see. Really didn't like it.
okay. Well, anyways, the something that they moved away from with that adaptation, and I think I don't know if the book had moved away from it at this point. The original printings of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory had the Oompa Loompas being like African pygmies, basically, like the
Oh,
illustrations of them. Yeah. And Willy Wonka, he brings them on and he gives them room and board for free labor. Uh, so he takes them from Oompa Loompa Land
oh,
and gives them room and board for free labor, and they choose to do it, but it's yeah. So there's
unfortunate
yeah,
connotation.
very, very unfortunate. Um, so yeah, so somebody brought that up to him at some I don't know what year it was, and he was like, yeah, that makes sense. And then they changed the printings so that way they were depicted as like I think they were depicted as like random white people from that point on, like just like short, weird white people.
Okay.
Um, but the first movie adaptation completely took out Loompa Land and all of that, so that way there was like no connotation to that. They might have mentioned Loompa Land, but like they didn't describe it like the other adaptations had. And then the Tim Burton adaptation brought it back, pretty much brought it
Oh
back.
no!
Yeah. And I forget who the actor was, but like
Johnny
they
Depp.
no,
Oh,
who the actor who played all the Oompa Loompas was.
oh,
But
there's
he was
one actor.
yeah, he was like brown skinned.
Oh no!
Um
Like artificially, like they put makeup on him, or was just like that's his natural complexion.
That's his natural
Okay, all
complexion.
right. I mean,
It was Deep Roy, if you know who that is. She's Kenyan British. Do you know who that is?
no, I do not. Should I know?
I feel like you definitely would if you saw a picture of him here. I'll send it. I'll send it to you. But
Oh,
yeah, it
him.
was they brought it back. And I don't remember people having too much of a problem with it because I think people have this association with Oompa Loompas being fantastical, but just like the way that uh, you could draw that distinction very it wouldn't be hard. So I'm glad that somebody told Roald Dahl that he was like, yeah, and then they changed it. Glad that happened. Um, what else? What else? Um, I will say I recommend reading children's books in German, especially stories you already or not well, not specifically in German, but in
Familiar with?
whatever language you're trying to learn. Uh, because especially stories that you know.
Mm,
Because it's very there were many times when like there were words that I didn't know. Um, and I've been reading other stuff in German since then, and as I've gotten better, I've been able to kind of like pick it out from the context of the sentences around it. However, for this first one, it was really helpful to know the story because I was able to know like what chapter we were in, like what
mm,
scene this was supposed to be, where we were. I was able to I had those like details beforehand, and then I could really focus on like words that I might not completely understand, and
mm.
it would help me understand them. So
I,
I do really recommend that. Yeah.
kind of an unrelated question, but is the first half of the first movie a lot like the book? Where they're just like, what is it? We got a golden ticket, and just goes like, you know what I'm talking about when they were like debating about getting the golden ticket. Remember that one scene? Um,
When who was debating about it?
like there was that
Like who
woman.
was
It's the weirdest joke I've ever heard in a kids movie. But like there was a woman, like saying, "My husband's being held hostage," and it's like, "Do you want a golden ticket instead?" And then she was like debating it.
Oh my god. I don't think they do that. I can't remember.
Because
This was a while ago that I read it now because I started it way early to make sure I could get through it in German. I do not remember actually.
yeah, if there's anything that defines like that's like a running theme throughout of a Roald Dahl's children's stuff, it's that like adults are always kind of not like always, but like if they're like that adults are not perfect and the kids kind of are, is
Uh-huh.
how I would describe it. I mean, I'll get into Matilda. I was planning to talk about Matilda, but like basically all the evil people are very ugly and just like large and just like uncharacteristically mean. And the kids are always like paragons of virtue and like
Yeah.
yeah. So
Well, I feel like if anything, the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the message behind that is that the rich like parents are turning their children into like terrible people too.
mm,
Like the rich parents already are not very good people, but then they're like spoiling their children in one way or another, and
mm,
and turning them all into horrible people as well.
yeah. So yeah, yeah, I guess. Yeah. Also, I know we didn't briefly touch about Uncle Joe, but do you hate Uncle Joe?
Not in the book. I'm pretty sure I watched a video on this. I'm pretty sure the first movie is the only adaptation where Uncle Joe is just like kind of a terrible guardian. Um, because he like it's like in the book, I just remember Uncle Joe like being there, and he was pretty nice generally. Like he was just kind of hanging out, walking around with Charlie.
Mm,
He talked about how he couldn't believe some of the stuff that was happening. Um, and then like I know in Tim Burton's adaptation, they made him more kind of like a he was more of like a I guess a good figure. Like he was fired from the chocolate factory when
oh,
when Wonka brought in the
like a
Oompa
like a
Loompas.
backstory, like expanding on it.
Yeah, they
Okay.
gave him like so the reason why he wanted to go so bad was to like relive being in the factory, and like he loved being in the factory or whatever. Again, I haven't seen this movie in a while either, so but I believe his motivation is like, I want to go back to the factory, pretty much. Um and yeah, like so that first movie, that adaptation, the Gene Wilder adaptation, I know he was just an actor, but like, come on. Um the Gene Wilder adaptation, he that's the only one where I think Grandpa Joe is like a bad grandparent.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could have misread like a point where Grandpa Joe was like did something bad in the book just because it was in German, but I'm pretty sure most of the time he was just like, "Wow, I can't believe this." Or, like,
just starts to yeah.
he did jump out of bed and dance, but like I think it's also in the movie like it feels worse because it's so realistic. Like in the book, it's like, oh, he jumped like 10 feet out of his bed, and like, you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
feels a little more fantastical and a little less like believable than in the movie.
Yeah. I'm also not. I'm not a big Charlie and the Chocolate Factory or Willy Wonka and the Charlie Factory fan. Whatever the first movie was. Just not a big fan. I know that might be a hot take. It's just like I don't.
Are you gonna watch the new adaptation with Timothy Chalamet?
They're making. Oh wait, yeah, it was like the prequel or something like that, right?
Yeah, they're making a new one.
No, I'm not.
I mean, I will say, Gene Wilder is kind of like the Willy Wonka, and he looks closer to Gene Wilder than Johnny Depp did. So
It's more pointy.
it's more about like the curly hair, I think.
Okay. Um.
He has hair that can match.
Yeah. Um. Timothy or Timothy, he's got some cheekbones. Like
Wow.
they're very pointy. I just that's my takeaway from that casting choice. Not everything needs a prequel, but hey, just whatever. I mean, they should make a movie out of the sequel book. Josh saying there's source material right there.
Yep.
I would love to see Charlie and Chocolate Factory in space. Um, I think I'll talk about my book that I read a while ago. The only Roald Dahl book that I've liked so far, Matilda. I've not seen the movie, but I've listened to the musical as well. And the musical is done by one of my favorite comedians, Tim Minchin. I did not know that he did Broadway, but he also did Groundhog Day, so good on you. But Matilda was awesome. I think it's about this little kid that extremely intelligent, more smarter than her parents, more smarter than her parents grammar. She's smarter than her parents, and a teacher takes a lot of interest in this, and everybody aside from this one teacher and this kid basically just kind of mistreats her, tries to limit her abilities. And I think this is a great book to read to kids because it fosters imagination and encourages you to actually, maybe not watch so much TV. I mean, not saying that TV is bad, all in moderation. Um, but it just tells kids, hey, you should read more and indulge in the arts, and perhaps you could be as smart as Matilda, because intelligence is something that should be cherished. I just find that really cool, that Roald Dahl would write that. And he also writes this in a very sarcastic way, because like, what is it? I forgot who the antagonist was, but like the headmaster, she's just uncharacteristically evil, and it's very funny. It just to see her just get mistreated as well. I know we're not advocating for revenge, but in the context of fiction, seeing someone get their due is very funny. Yeah, and also like it also teaches you that, hey, maybe your biological parents aren't that great people. Perhaps you could find kind of like a surrogate family and other people, especially someone that cares for you and all that. I don't know. I just really love this. The musical is great as well. And even barring the fact this is a kid's book, I think it's just a good quick read. It's much better than all the other Roald Dahl books I've read, and highly recommend. I don't have anything deep about to say about it. Just like, hey, if you're gonna read anything, just read that to your kids. Boom.
Fair enough, I guess.
Yeah, I wanted to end this on a positive note because like Reading Matilda has gotten me more interested in Roald Dahl, but the other two books I've read just don't. And I think you know my opinion on the Fantastic Mr. Fox, the book version, where it's just very boring. It's just it's just a fox starting to dig faster, and I'm just like, what's the point of this? I don't know. So I've got faith that maybe Charlie and the Chocolate Factory could be good if I actually read it.
Yeah. If it follows the movies as much as I feel like I remember it does, then like it can't be bad. You know what I mean?
You have a template. Don't mess it up.
Yeah. All right. I mean, is that it? Like I still feel like there's that much to say. I covered the problematic thing about Charlie and the Chocolate
Yeah.
Factory pretty much.
I mean, I haven't watched the Matilda movie, but Matilda musical is great. It's on Spotify.
I've seen the movie. I barely remember that one too. I haven't seen
Man,
that in quite some time.
told you this would be a theme throughout the
I should rewatch some of these movies, maybe, possibly.
perhaps. But I won't be doing that anytime soon because we got other stuff to be doing, like ending this podcast episode.
Yep. If you liked this episode, please give it a like, a rating, a good rating, whatever it is on whatever platform you're listening on. You can find us on Twitter at NotJustAnyPod, where you'll find information on this podcast as well as our other show, Not Just Any RPG. If you're interested in tabletop games, give that a listen.
Yes.
Next month.
What is next month? Oh, medieval.
Next month is nonfiction month. One of the few times we've done it. We're talking about medieval Europe. So give that a listen.
We're going from kids literature to that.
Yeah. History is cool. Give it a listen. I don't know what we're gonna do for bookends, but maybe nothing. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Anything else, Justin?
Not. I just want to say that Roald Dahl. I forgot to mention this, but I love it when he just randomly kills just like really bad people in very funny ways. And on that note, goodbye, Prometheus.
Wow. Okay. There it is.